our buddy, Frankie Cartoscelli from KHTK.com. You should check out the picture that we tweeted promoting Frankie's appearance here.
Come on.
The big cheese, I'll call it. He is cheesing like nobody I've ever seen. That picture of you, Frankie, when you're cheesing from ear to ear, you are very happy, sir, in that picture. Very happy.
I was excited, fresh-faced 23-year-old, my first year at the Kings, man. I mean, come on. I'm sure some people behind, some intern buddies are probably making some jokes behind the camera anyway, but it was a good day.
I mean, the excitement is palpable in that picture. Anyway, let's get to the Kings. Again, you can follow Frankie on Twitter. He's got way too long of a handle. And also, you can follow him in his writing at KHTK.com. Frankie, let's get into this rumor about the Wizards. We were talking about this, you and I, before you left the building today. The Wizards interested in trading up. They're looking at the Kings at the 4 pick. They're reportedly had significant conversations, and they've talked an awful lot in return for it would be the 10th pick. Kyle Kuzma's name's been floated out there. Hachimura's name's been floated out there. What do you think this deal would be, and what are your thoughts on the deal?
Well, I mean, first things first, and Chris Watkins said on our podcast today, I mean, to Washington, the number one response is get in line. I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams that are lining up for Jaden Ivey if the Kings are truly not going to pick him. I know there's been reports that Ivey would prefer to not be drafted by Sacramento. I mean, reports during draft time are very fluid, as we all know, but any deal with Washington, for sure, we need to include that 10th pick. As we all know, the Kings have had Jeremy Sohan in, Dyson Daniels, some guys that could be down in that 10 range. But it's going to take Kyle Kuzma. I mean, I think, up to me, Kyle Kuzma is a guy that the Kings obviously have been interested in. They almost acquired him last summer when the Buddy Hield deal fell through. Kuzma's a guy who can play the 3 and the 4, which is kind of nice to have that interchangeability, especially with a guy like Harrison Barnes, who could be on the trading block this summer. But it would definitely take two of those guys, two of those Wizards you just named, Kyle Kuzma, Rui Hachimura. Denny Advia is the guy that the Kings were looking at 2020, the Tyrese Halliburton year. The Kings were looking at drafting him when he went, I believe, 9th to Washington. So it's going to take a couple of those guys, and, of course, the dollars have to work out, too. Rashawn Holmes is a guy that probably would line up in a deal like that. Maybe the Kings look to move Justin Holiday's contract as they try to rebuild that backcourt, but it's going to take a lot to move to 4. I mean, Jaden Ivey is a guy that has a lot of attention right now around the NBA.
All right, so let's say the deal. Nice promotion of your podcast, and Chris as well, since I didn't promote enough about you to start this interview. You felt like you needed to ring the bell there. Well done by you, sir. But let's say the deal is the 10th pick, Kuzma, and another piece. Is that enough, Frankie?
If it's up to me, no. This 4th pick, the Kings have been handed a gift here. And, we all know what happened last time the Kings got this opportunity to jump up. And I believe the Kings should use that 4th pick. I'm of the idea the Kings should use it on Jaden Ivey. I'm very high on him, and I think he's going to be, honestly, a top 2, top 3 talent in this draft. I do not think that trading the 4th pick back for Kyle Kuzma, who has 2 years left on his deal and would be a fine rotation piece, but that and the 10th pick, I'd like to kind of just roll it with the 4th pick. That's just up to me, though. But I'm not Monty McNair.
Yeah, I agree with you. Frankie Cartoscelli with us here from KHTK.com. Don't forget KHTK's coverage of the 2022 NBA Draft brought to you by Power Business Technology and also Two Rivers Roofing. All right, so let's talk about Sohan and Dyson Daniels. Sohan out of Baylor, Daniels out of the G League. You mentioned, Frankie, these are two guys that the team has worked out. They haven't worked out a lot of guys, but they've apparently worked out those two. Do you like either one of them or both of them?
I like both. I like both a lot. I don't love them at the 4th pick, but if the Kings were to move back, whether it be 10 or, you never know what could happen on draft night. The Kings could move back a couple spots. I know that people have floated out the rumors of maybe Detroit. The Kings try to bring back Jeremy Grant, a situation like that. I really have come to like Sohan as a draft prospect. A lot of analysts out there are very high on him. He's a 7-foot wingspan, 6'9", 260, big body, a guy that can rebound. He's one of the better defenders in the draft, and as we all know, the Kings need a lot more defense on their team. Mike Brown's going to come in, and he's going to look to turn things around and change this identity of a team that hasn't been in the top 20 of defensive rating in the NBA in about, 10, 15 years. So Sohan's a guy I keep my eyes on, especially if the Kings do move back, whether it's 10 or 9 or 8. The Kings they like Sohan a lot. We'll see if he's the guy they choose. Dyson Daniels is somebody who, about a month ago, Daniels on a podcast said that he believes he would be a good fit with the Kings.
Huh.
He thinks that he could come in and change their dynamic as far as their defense as well. He's 6'7" with a 6'10" wingspan, and he played very well in the G League last year. So either of those guys, I'm all for it. And like you said, the Kings have been very close to the vest this summer so far as their workouts and who they have and haven't come in. There's been some whispers the Kings have obviously, which were confirmed today. They've been talking to Keegan Murray. Murray said they've been talking for a while now, but it's still unconfirmed if he's coming for a workout. But Dyson Daniels and Jeremy Sohan are guys I would definitely keep an eye on if the Kings move back in this draft.
All right, you brought up Ivy. You said you'd pick Ivy. I'm with you. I would pick Ivy at 4 and make this easy. But ESPN, of course, the report yesterday had everybody talking that Sacramento is not Ivy's preferred destination. Do you think that matters to Monty?
No. I mean, look, that's warranted, and especially when you look at Ivy, the reasoning behind it to me is, and there was a Q&A he was on today, and he answered that he would love to go to a place like Indiana or Detroit because his mom, who was a former WNBA player, played there. She played in both those cities. That's
right.
Important to him. He grew up in Indiana. It's fair to want to go back to where you're from and places that are close to you. Obviously, there's also the dynamic of maybe he doesn't want to go to a losing team like the Kings, who haven't won in 16 years, and that's fair. That's a fair assessment to not want to go somewhere where you're going to lose. And it's also fair to not want to go to a situation where the Kings have two guards that they think very highly of, in De'Aaron Fox and Davion Mitchell, who we've heard is going to be a guy that's not available in trade talks, which, as we know in the NBA, there are no guarantees, but that's what we're hearing is Davion Mitchell is going to be a King next season. But I don't think it matters much. Monty McNair said before he will pick the best player available. If he believes that Jaden Ivey's the best player available, I believe he's going to pick him. But the way that the Kings front office views these prospects, maybe Keegan Murray is the guy the Kings believe is the best player available at fourth. Maybe Dyson Daniels is the best player to Monty McNair, and they want to take him fourth. That's going to be up to the front office, but just because Jaden Ivey doesn't want to come to the Kings, that's not going to deter Monty McNair from making any decision, I would imagine.
Frankie Cartoscelli with us. It's funny, as we talk, Frankie, Woj is on ESPN right now, and they're talking about what on NBA Countdown? The buzz around teams attempting to move up to draft Ivy. So, I mean, the draft starts at 4, and everybody's talking about this now. Will Ivy end up with the Kings? Will the Kings make a deal? Let's say they stay at 4, Frankie, and they don't pick Ivy. Who do they pick?
All signs are pointing to Keegan Murray, and I've personally heard for weeks now that the Kings they've been very big on Keegan Murray since the draft. The way that he performed last season and in the NCAA tournament, he's been arguably the best player in college basketball last season. He averaged almost 27 points per game. His defense has been incredible. He's a guy that can defend the passing lane. He can defend on ball, and the fact that he's 6'8", that's kind of the interchangeability I talked about. Playing small forward, playing power forward. He's a guy that can shoot the basketball, and that's something the Kings need as well. They need shooting, and they need defense. So on paper, he's an ideal prospect for the Kings. It just comes back to that discussion of Jaden Ivey has what not just me or you, Nick, a lot of people around the league that have watched this kid play. He has star potential, and whether the Kings have two guards or not, you need to be sure. You need to be really sure that this guy is not going to fit here with Fox and Mitchell, and Murray is your guy. Because if you're wrong on this pick and the Kings pick Murray fourth and the Pistons have an all-NBA or all-star talent in Ivy in 2 years, it's going to come back and bite you. But on paper, a forward that can shoot the ball and play defense, that's what the Kings need. It's just, is it going to be at fourth in the draft? That's the question.
All right, I need a one-word answer from you, okay, because we're short on time. A week from tonight, what do you think happens? And I'm either going to ask you trade up, right, trade down, pick, or out, as in trade out of the draft entirely. Just give me one word, up, down, out, or stick.
And stick.
All right, so they stick and pick at 4, which Frankie says it would be Keegan Murray. Frankie, thank you for the time, man. Great stuff. We'll do it again soon, and I'll see you in the building tomorrow.
Appreciate you, Nick. Good luck to yourself tonight, my friend. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, buddy. I'll see you. There goes Frankie Cartoscelli, KHTK.com. You can follow him